Hi, good morning, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 687, and we are here live in Southwest Florida in my beautiful tropical backyard. I have a few things I want to share with you this morning, kind of touching base on some of the things that we've talked about in other episodes this week. We're going to talk a little bit more about skirts, which I thought would be fun. And if you're joining me live, please say hello. Let me know if you're crafting. Let me know if you have questions for me, or just say hi. Hi, Judy, Joe, Lisa, Marcia. Good morning. Welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Marcia, and Hills, and Grace, Wendy. Good morning. Lisa's working on her poppy scarf. Great. Missed a couple more names. Hi, Pamela and Lorraine. Ooh, happy hump day. Yay, it's the camel day. Yay. Hi, Christine and Lorraine, Lily, Thea. Good morning, everybody. Oh, I'm getting into dangerous, uncharted waters with self-trimming my own hair. Remember how last week I told you I flipped my hair over and cut it? Well, I don't think I trimmed enough layers because I'm still having a lot of frizz even when I cut my hair, even when I blow dry my hair. So this morning I re-trimmed it. Isn't that the kiss of death when you're trimming your own bangs in the first place? Once you trim it once, if you don't like it, you really should go to a professional. So I did 2 more trims this morning on the back of my head, and I still don't think that I got the frizz out. So I feel like I still have ends that need to be trimmed. And I really don't want to give up and go get a haircut. I'm really liking the idea of learning how to trim it myself, because I seem to have the type of hair that would be extremely easy to trim yourself. So anyway, I'm approaching dangerous waters now by trimming it 3 times myself to fix, and we all know how that goes with trimming bangs. So yeah, I'm either going to have to accept it for the way it is right now or get a haircut. Anyway. Well, we have a birthday. Happy birthday, Chris. Caroline's knitting dishcloths and a shawl. Wonderful. What else did I miss while I was talking? Maybe just some more good mornings. Yes, I do have good scissors, Pamela. I do. I have professional scissors, thank goodness. Hi, Rita. Good morning. All right, welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast, everybody. This is episode 687. Oh my gosh, we're 13 away from 700. How crazy is that? I'm Kristin Omdahl, and we're here in my tropical backyard. I can hear the birds singing. Are the kitties out here yet? No, they're inside sleeping, but we have birds, and all the plants look amazing. Oh, thank you, Judy. Good morning, Judy. Judy's sharing links. I ran out of time this morning and did not get a chance to share the links for everything that I'm wearing and that I'll talk about. Judy, I will probably share the live links in the live chat, and I will update the video description and comments when the podcast is over. Hi, Creative. Good morning. Hi, Wendy. Thanks so much, everybody, hi, Katrina. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. So quick recap of what I'm wearing to start with. I'm wearing the Alicia earrings, which if you already have 52 Crochet Gifts book, you have this pattern. Otherwise, you can download the pattern individually in my crochet pattern shop, or you can get the book 52 Crochet Gifts. It's a really simple crochet chain fringe that's done in 3 tiers and 3 different colors of Be So Fine yarn. I did it in pink dragon fruit, crushed berries, and tropical hot coral. Very festive, summery colors. You could do it in any color shade family, or do high contrast or tonal, or do it all in one color. You could even skip the tiers if these are too big of a look for you, and you could do just 1 tier. Imagine just doing one of the tiers of fringe. That would be cute as just a tassel earring as well. So lots of ways you could modify that pattern. I'm also wearing the fine Jillian shrug that's made in Be So Fine yarn. This is a single pattern download on my website in the crochet pattern shop. And I'll show it to you real quick. It's an oversized lace shrug that is super duper cute on, and you could wear it over literally anything. I'm wearing it over one of my Amazon dresses. Do you believe I bought this one too tight? This feels like it's a large, not an extra large like I normally wear. I feel like it's just a tad too snug on me, and anyway, it was too late by the time I put it on because I was working on technical stuff this morning, and every time I start the morning on technical work instead of like easy work before the podcast, I run out of time. Like I get so absorbed in math and calculations and technicalities that I really run out of time, and I shouldn't do it, but I did. And I ran out of time this morning, so anyway, that is that. Hi, Carrie. Good morning. Hi, Joyce. Yeah, the shrug is gorgeous. Like I said, you can wear it over anything. It looks great over a dress. It looks great over jeans. It looks great over a tank top, t-shirt, long sleeve blouse. I mean, it's just so simple, and it's oversized, and it has such amazing drape because it's in fine weight yarn. It clicks all the boxes, right? Or ticks all the boxes, however you like to say that. Hi, Mariana. Good morning. So the dress and the belt that I'm wearing are in my Amazon shop. The pattern for the Fine Jillian Shrug and the Alicia earrings is in my crochet pattern shop. And the yarn is the same for both of these patterns, actually. It's Be So Fine yarn for both of them, and you can find that in my yarn shop. It's only going to be a limited time that I have to tell you the different shops for all my products. I'm so excited that on the new website, I will be able to have only one shop so that you can shop for patterns, books, yarns, accessories, and everything all in one spot. You'll be able to do filters to filter out what you're looking for, but you'll also be able to shop everything all in one spot. And I can't wait to be able to say the shop instead of having to say, oh, the crochet pattern shop, the knit pattern shop, the yarn shop, accessories, blah. I'm so excited to be able to say that it's all going to be one shop. And again, it'll be there'll be filters there still like there is now, but more filters even, so you'll be able to narrow down a search, but you'll also be able to browse everything all at once. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much easier to shop and browse, I think, so hopefully you'll love it. Joe is working on this pattern right now. Joyce says it's getting chilly in Michigan. I bet it is. Are the leaves changing in Michigan yet, up in the Midwest? Or if you're out in the Northeast or in Canada, wherever you are, can anybody tell me if the leaves are starting to change? I have to tell you, what I miss the most about the Midwest is cider mills. If anybody likes going to cider mills, have a glass of fresh cider for me, hot or cold. Either one works for me. I like it cold, and I like it hot with a cinnamon stick in it. I do miss going to cider mills. That's my favorite part of the Midwest. Pamela's in Southwest Ohio, and you see there are leaves changing. Not yet in Toronto. And you know what? I can buy cider here, but it does not taste the same. It's pasteurized, it's bottled. God only knows how long it sat on the shelf. And it doesn't matter how much I spend. I can spend a lot of money on cider that's supposedly from a cider mill. Kristin, is there a way? Christine would like to know if there's a way to categorize my podcasts so that you know what I taught or talked about in each one. Christine, in a perfect world there would be, but I would need probably a full-time assistant to be able to do that. Unfortunately, that's a lot of work that I just don't have time in the day to do. If anybody can think of a way to maybe the community can put together those tabs and filters and categorize things, then I'd be happy to do that in the here on YouTube, or do that somehow on my website. I would love to be able to help you with that, because I think it would be extremely helpful, because I've taught a lot on the podcast off the cuff, right? But no, Christine, it's not I'm not saying it as an insult. I'm asking for help. If anybody wants to help do that, it's an enormous amount of work, and maybe there's a way for the community at large to find a way to volunteer to do it. It's such a massive amount of work, especially going back retroactively through 687 episodes, that I just don't have time in the day to do that. But it's a wonderful idea, and I know it would be extremely helpful to a lot of people. I don't know. At this point, I don't know how to go back and do it because it's so much work. But again, if anybody has suggestions or ideas or wants to volunteer to work on it, that would be amazing because it would be so helpful for everybody. Yeah, someone taking notes would be helpful for sure. And then maybe once a week I make a blog post giving those notes for all 5 episodes. I'd be willing to do the blog post if somebody wrote everything so I could copy and paste it and then add the links. That's a good idea, like a week in review for the podcast. I would be willing to do the blog post if somebody or collectively other people did the rest. We could even make a community Google spreadsheet or Google Doc maybe to add that information. I don't know, I'm willing to discuss it and brainstorm about it because it's, like I said, I think it's an amazing opportunity to really take what I've taught here and make it a better functioning tool. Yeah, Christine, if I knew how to do it, I'd tell you how to do it too. So I don't know, but let's just put it out there. Christine, thanks for the idea. And everybody else, if you feel like you want to brainstorm with us on that, I think it's an amazing idea. Let's just figure out how to get started. That's if anybody feels inspired to help. And on that note, let's talk about some more inspiration, because yesterday we started talking about skirts, and the projects that I was talking about skirts with yesterday are projects that will require some designing. So for those of you that are not quite at a design level to really take a pattern and remake it and rework it, I wanted to show you how you could turn some of my dress patterns into skirt patterns a lot easier. So, oh, I forgot to bring a tape measure. Anyway, that's okay. We don't need to measure my hips on camera anyway. I don't really feel like sharing the number. So we'll give a fake number instead. I was actually worried about that this morning. Anyway, so let's talk about some dresses. I did not bring out every dress that I've designed, but I know you know lots of them, and you can certainly search, you can filter on I think I only have crochet. Do I not have any knit dress patterns? I may not. We need to fix that because a knit dress would be amazing. Anyway, I know I have several crochet dress patterns, and you can filter them in my crochet pattern shop. And pretty soon, if I have knit and crochet patterns, you'll be able to filter dress patterns and see both on the new website once I have a knit pattern for dress. I have designed knit dresses over the years, but I think they were designed for other companies. So anyway, oh yeah, I did. I have oh my gosh, one of my favorite patterns I ever designed. And yeah, we need to rework this. I made a flapper dress for Vogue Knitting years ago that had ruffled tiers on it, and it was all knit, and it was red, and it was gorgeous. It was in Tilly Thomas yarns, which was silk, and then beaded silk, which we could totally do something similar in Be So Sporty bamboo yarn and Sporty bling for the ruffles, or we could do fine bling for the ruffles and sporty for the dress. Anyway, yes, that would be a great dress to rework. And another example, what I'm going to tell you today for converting dresses into skirts, you can apply to any dress pattern. So let's start with the Sweet Clara dress, and then we'll go over all of these. But the general rule of thumb that I'm going to show you would work for just about any dress pattern. So first of all, you're going to want to take your hip measurement. And why do you need your hip measurement? You'd think you'd want your waist measurement for a skirt, but you need your hip measurement, just like you need your bust measurement for a top. Okay, let's start there. Why do we go by bust measurement for our tops instead of neck measurements, right? Because in order to get it over our head and onto our body, we need to know what the widest circumference is to fit over it, right? Even if you're going to fit something, And if you're going to tuck in at the waist, that's usually when things have a zipper on them, because you can't get a narrow section around a wider section. You always have to go by the widest circumference or add a zipper. So if you're going to pull things on, and for skirts I'm going to talk about pulling on with a drawstring, and in pullovers we usually talk about things that you pull over, right? So we always go by the widest circumference. On a top, it's usually the bust. On a dress, it's usually the hips. So you're always going to want to go by your hip measurement, not your waist measurement, to make sure that you can get it up. So you're going to take your tape measure, measure your hips, and you can go with a little bit of a negative ease here, because we're talking about yarn and it's going to stretch a little bit. So you could even go as much as maybe 2 inches of negative ease there. And then you're going to start with, you could start with a chain, but I do prefer foundation ovals or foundation single crochets for the beginning of a skirt, because it's going to have a little more of a stretch factor. I find that a chain ends up being a little uncomfortable for the top of a skirt. You want something with a little bit of give in it. So once you do that, you're going to figure out your multiple, and it's probably somewhere close to whatever that lower skirt portion is of that dress, and you'll figure out what row begins around there, and then literally just follow the rest of the pattern all the way down. If your dress is top down, that's all you would do, is just figure out what row or what round starts around there and work all the way down. So that's super easy. And then that would be the case. This is the fan dancer dress. This one is actually worked in pieces, where you work the top separate from the bottom. So for one like this, you could literally just start here and work down and just skip the top portion. And so this one's really already written to be a dress as well. How pretty is that stitch pattern? Like, so gorgeous, right? And then I want to show you something that I haven't yet published. So I made this out of Be So Sporty yarn years ago, and I used to have one of those rectangular rice paper lamps. I'm sure you've seen me post photos of it over the years in social media, but it was one of those rectangle, like it's square but then tall, so it makes it a rectangle, covered in rice paper, and it was a lamp in my living room. And so I made this tube of crochet motifs with one tube at the top to turn it into a square, right? And then slid the whole cozy over the lamp. Well, what I'm thinking now is if I cut that top motif off that turns it into three-dimensional, I will then have a tube, guys. And guess what? If that tube will fit the widest circumference of my hips, guess what I'm gonna have? I'm gonna have a skirt. And so I'll figure out how to, so once I cut that top motif off and do a bit of a waistband and make a drawstring, I'm going to be able to turn this into a skirt. And how pretty is that? It is the same motif as the Audra poncho, if you've already made that. Don't know if you can recognize it in there. I think I used a different mini motif in between, or maybe it's the same. I can't decide. I'll know more when I look at it closer. Yeah, I'm gonna cut the motif off the top and then crochet a waistband on it, and then I won't even have to share that in the written instructions. I'll be able to share it as though you just made a tube of motifs and then how to add a waistband. So for me as a designer, this isn't going to take that long to make, because most of the work is already done, and because that's going to be a yarn that was dyed many, many years ago, I may have to go with a contrast color for the waistband, but that's fine too. I don't care about that. I'd either use Rose Blush, which is a similar mauvey pink, or I could go with Chantilly Lace or Sandcastle. How would you take a motif and it not unravel? I'm going to cut this one out. Do you guys want to watch me do that? I could show you how I do that too. Don't mind doing that, because the other ones won't unravel. They're joined to themselves, right? Yeah, you'd like to see that? Sure, we'll do that one live. That's fine. But again, that won't be included in the pattern, because there would be no reason for you to put that motif. How do you cut out a motif? So what I'm going to do is not cut it precisely where it's joined. I'll cut it just a little inward, so maybe the next row up, so that I'll explain it all when we do it. We could even do it tomorrow because it's actually really interesting. If you don't need to save, the fan dancer dress pattern is in my crochet pattern shop on my website. So there's a difference between taking out a motif if you want to unravel it and save it, and taking out a motif if you're going to chuck it. So if you're going to chuck it, it's way, way, way easier to remove a motif because you can actually destruct it while you're doing it, and then it's super easy. And because the ends have already been woven in on this, there's no way for me to unravel it well, right? Joyce just made the Serafina scarf in Be So Baby yarn in cherry. That's great. I'd love to see photos of it. If you're in the private Facebook group for Create, Share, Inspire podcast, you can share your photos there. Oh, that reminds me. I think that we've figured out a way for you to be able to share photos on the new website too. Fingers crossed that our design idea is going to work, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have a spot so that whether you like Facebook or not, I know not everybody does. I'm forced into social media because of my business, but I totally understand why some people don't like to be on social media. And so it'll be way more inclusive because no matter whether you like social media or not, you'll have a place to be able to share your photos. I'm super excited about that. We've been racking our brains to figure out how to do that so everybody had a space to be able to do that and everybody could be included. So yeah, so fingers crossed that works out, but we're working so hard to incorporate everybody's wish list of things that they wanted on the website and some other super fun things. It's going to be really exciting. I'm supposed to get my first look and feel of the website this week, and I'm so excited. Hi, Angela. Wow, it looks like it's going to be sunny again today. That's a change. Oh my gosh. Remember, I have a orchid that's like 14 years old, and I literally don't do anything to it. I just hang it on a fence. You guys have to see this today. Look at all the buds on there. So can you see that there are two strands, or there's two stems with lots of buds that are actually open flowers, but then there are 1, 2, 3 more stems with all buds on them. So within a couple of days, I'm going to have 5 stems with tons of flowers on it. And this is literally an orchid that does not get watered by me. It doesn't get anything. It just sits there and nature provides for it. How amazing is that? Wow. You know, we talk so much about how much we take care of our plants and what we do to take care of them, and it really is amazing the way some plants just thrive in nature, like the bougainvillea and the plumeria back there. There's nothing to do for them. They just survive on what nature provides for them. It's so amazing to me. So amazing. The fan dancer dress should be in my crochet pattern shop. The pink one is unpublished, but the white one, the fan dancer, this one is in my crochet pattern shop. It's a what? It's an epiphytic orchid? Oh, meaning it relies on nature, yes. Yeah, the fence is still missing. I don't know what's in the neighbor's yard, sorry. I don't know what's back there. Yeah, we're still too chicken to go over there and figure out, discuss with him what's the deal. Barbara, I don't know how lucky, I don't know why I'm lucky with, the flapper dress was published in Vogue Knitting years ago. I could definitely remake something like it though. It's a very easy construction style that I came up in my head. Those orchids over here, the ones in the pots, they rebloom before the old blooms are done. Like I'll still have flowers on one stem and then I have buds coming, before they even drop, I have buds coming up on others. So those have been so productive, and I think it's that corner that works so well for orchids, because I've never had this success for orchids, even living in the tropics. But yeah, those are amazing over there. Everything's looking good here right now. The gardenias haven't bloomed yet, but you know we'll be discussing that the day they do. And then I'll be gushing over how beautiful they smell and all that, but we still have some time. All right, let me see what other questions there are. Yes, Judy is an amazing wealth of information. Thank you so much for all of the links. I know, okay, will you measure your hips or busts? Do you need to do a gauge? Absolutely you need to do a gauge, because you'll never get the stitch count to match those inches if you don't have a gauge. Katrina wants to ask questions about the crochet along. If I can answer it live, I will. If I can't, then if it's more of a technical question, we might need you to email, but go ahead, go for it. Yes, Mindy, you'll need to do a gauge swatch to figure out how many inches, because however many stitches per inch you have times that hip measurement is how many stitches you'd need to go around your hips. That's correct. All right, so I'll wait a second here, see if any more questions come in. Is there a way to get a copy of my book, Wrapped in Crochet? That book is out of print, so if by chance you could find copies on Amazon, maybe. Otherwise, my best suggestion would be to look for used copies on eBay. I know that I have great success finding used books on eBay, so there's no reason why my books might not be available there too, so you could ask there. Or you could search there, sorry. A combination of thoughts going. Yeah, anytime you need to find stuff used, eBay's a great choice. I find clothes there sometimes, I find purses there sometimes, and I find books there sometimes. I've even found sheet music for my piano. I have a vintage sheet music book from Aretha Franklin music that I found on eBay that I love to death. I bought it as a Christmas present for myself several years ago when Marlon needed help buying Christmas presents for Mom. Isn't that cool though? It was actually published in the 60s, and it's a collection of Aretha Franklin songs. They're way too hard for me to play on piano. I just never learned, the jazz kind of music, and it's just, I could probably use some lessons. I haven't had a piano lesson since I was 8 years old, and I got to tell you, if I really wanted to get to the next level and become a better piano player, I probably could use some lessons. Oh, right now I'm learning a song though. I'm working on, what songs am I working on? I'm working on the song from Disney, When You Wish Upon a Star. It's so beautiful, and I'm learning the older version that definitely has more of a jazz swing vibe to it, and I'm also learning, what's the, Dream a Little Dream with Me, the Louis Armstrong and Etta Fitzgerald song. So beautiful, and and it definitely has a swing vibe to it, which anything that requires a little bit more rhythm takes me a little longer to learn. For motifs 10 and 11, all the motifs are the same, all 11 motifs are the same, Katrina, for the poppy crochet scarf. The only difference is through part 2 of the mystery crochet along, you have joined 5 in a strip and 3 in a strip. Is that right? All right. But those motifs 10 and 11 are not joined. Or you've joined 6 in a strip, 3 in a strip, and then 10 and 11 are worked through that final round, but they are not joined. Does that answer your question? Oh, Rennie finished this shrug today, but in hydrangea bling. Oh, that sounds beautiful. I'd love to see that. Great questions today, everybody. I think we've got lots of content here. I hope I answered your questions, and if you decide you have other questions about what we talked about today, you're always welcome to pop back. Hold on, and ask them in the comments. Got enough. Kimberly notices that Shadow Blossom has 2 part 1 and 2 part 2 videos. If you'll notice in the title, The second videos for part 1 and part 2 are made for left-hand crocheters. So anytime I can do that, I do, and I get a lot of requests for my crochet videos to be in both right hand and left hand visually. And so if you look in the title of those videos, it will say up there in all caps to help you see it, left hand right after, in the beginning of the title. So part 1 and part 2 that don't say right hand, left hand are right hand, and then the second set of them are for left hand. And if you start watching them, you'll quickly recognize whether it's right hand or left hand. And they're all in the same playlist, so once you get to the playlist, you can definitely sort all that out. If you have any other questions about what we talked about today, whether it's now, later, whatever, come back to the podcast and leave them in the comments. I get notifications for the comments all day long, and I usually reply to them as soon as I possibly can. So please always feel welcome to come back. If you like the podcast, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, there's that red button in the corner if you want to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified every time I go live, you can click that bell button next to the subscribe button as well. If you have friends that might enjoy my thousands of tutorial videos or my daily podcast, please if you feel like sharing with them, that would be great as well. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.